Good morning, squirrels, and welcome back to Avy-HD. I am Avi, your host, and I'm qualified to be here because I too am a squirrel trapped in a human's body. Just constantly looking for shiny things and chasing nuts and running up and down trees. So welcome, squirrel brains. You are in the right place. And today we're going to talk about something that is super near and dear to my heart, a concept on which I have based my entire business and something I've been fighting for my entire career, my entire personal life. Work smarter, not harder. And we talk about that all the time. This is a phrase that a lot of us know. It's something that we repeat frequently. Work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. What the hell does that mean? What does that even mean? To work smarter, not harder. Because when you're faced with a challenge, your instinct is to work at it, right? Like you come up against a challenge, you're faced with this challenge that maybe you've never faced before. There's something new that's going on in your life and you're like, all right, I'm going to tackle this thing and I'm just going to throw everything I can at it. I'm going to work as hard as I can until this problem is solved. So then we start to tackle our challenge and the solution that we chose fails, right? So we try a different solution. We try something different. We try something different. We try something different. We try something new. We work a little bit harder. We work a little bit different. When we talk about working smarter, not harder, there's something that we really skip. And that piece is the how. How the hell am I supposed to work harder? Excuse me. How the hell am I supposed to work smarter and not harder? What does that even mean? Because if I knew how to do something the simple way, don't you think that I would already be doing it the simple way? Do you think that I like putting in quadruple the amount of effort into something that could be accomplished with way less effort? Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to put in effort into something that they can accomplish with little effort. I don't think it's a choice to work hard and not smart. But we're often in so many situations and so many circumstances where we are rewarded for the hard work and not for the smart. So let's start with a definition. For me, working hard means doing the same tasks in the same way forever and ever without optimizing. And what naturally happens in that situation is that your tasks will grow exponentially because tasks always grow. They never decrease somehow. Your task list is just always growing and growing and growing. And you will keep seeing the same things over and over again. And you will keep doing them the same way over and over again, even if that way is not the most efficient way. So let's think about this practically. I am a factory employee. I come into the factory. It is my job to run a particular machine. Let's say we are a crayon making factory. And I run the machine that places the labels on each of the crayons and makes sure that the colors are being sorted properly. Whatever. That's my job. And I notice it's my job every single day to stand there and to make sure that each of the labels is being properly attributed to each of the crayon colors and that they're being wrapped adequately and that everything is moving smoothly as it should through the machine. But I've noticed that we're spending a lot of time verifying specific colors because a lot of our shades look very similar in our crayons. So today we are doing a bunch of different pink shades. They look very similar so that the quality checks take a long time. Okay, let's take the work harder approach. In the work harder approach, the generic crayon company that has no specific brand name has expanded their color palette. And now there's 50 different shades of pink. So your job is to make sure that the quality on the shades of pink is accurate and that the crayons are wrapped in their appropriate label that says what color the crayon is. Great. In the work harder approach, you are given this task and you do it. Maybe it takes you 8 hours a day to just look at the little labels and to turn each one over in your head individually. And you just need to sit there and grind at it. And you are going to work at it and make sure that those crayons are sorted. That is work harder. What happens tomorrow? There's more crayons. There are always more crayons. There's always more crayons coming down the conveyor belt. And you're always going to need to sort them. And if you keep doing all of the pinks in the way that you are, it's always going to be extremely tedious to sort and quality assure your pinks because there's so many different shades. And you have to pay very close attention to make sure you're sorting them correctly. Let's look at this from a work smarter approach, okay? We are still workers in a crayon factory. So let's try it from a smarter approach. You're still working in a crayon factory. There's still a problem in determining the quality of the shades of pink because a lot of them are so similar, but they have different crayon names. So you come in as a new employee and you say, hey, what about this? What if every day of the week we dedicated ourselves to multiple different colors? Okay. So on Monday, we have a run of blues and a run of greens and a run of reds and a run of pinks, but only one shade of each individual hue. Where's the problem? Where's the challenge? I'm giving you a second to think about it. Because if you're like me, you are screaming at your phone, screen, computer right now and saying, okay, that's very nice that you have an idea, but you are probably a lowly factory worker. You came in at the ground level and you might have a brilliant idea, but what are the chances of anyone taking your idea seriously and listening to you? They have to listen to you. They have to hear you. They have to listen to you. They have to consider what you were saying, and then they actually have to have a desire to implement it, and then they have to implement it, which probably costs money, consideration, and time. So then those solutions never get implemented, and people end up working harder and harder and harder and harder because the tasks always increase. Unless you find a way to deliberately and intentionally decrease your tasks, they will, by definition, increase. It's the nature of the beast. It is the way the tax monster grows. That was the literal longest introduction in the entire world into working smarter and not harder. But that concept is so infuriating to me because when we think we're working smart, we're really just working hard. And when we think we're working hard, we're probably just working smart. And that leads to a disconnect between the productivity of what I'm doing, the amount of effort that it feels like it's taking me, and how that impacts on my self-worth as a person. So I'm going to introduce this element right now, and then we're going to circle back to how you can actually work smarter and not harder in your life. Although I hate that expression. So we're going to come up with something throughout this podcast. If we don't, leave me your suggestions at the end. I'd love to hear what you think. And while I'm already pausing myself, I'd like to take a moment to shout out a very special listener. Shayna, dear listener, thank you so much for being a loyal part of our community. Shayna sent me a message the other day saying that she can't believe I'm talking to anyone else besides her because it feels like the podcast was tailor-made for her and like somebody was speaking to her brain for the first time. So if you feel like that, and you know anyone who might feel like that, please share with them. We've had enough of feeling alone and feeling lonely and feeling misunderstood. It's time to feel part of a community that understands you. So shameless plug over. And let's go back to that feeling of, or the impact of your productivity on your self-worth. We have been taught that the more we get done, the more productive we are, the more valuable we are to society, the more valuable we are as human beings. And I'm here to tell you that that is not only wrong, but incredibly stupid. And I'll tell you why. For anybody who's done any sort of scientific research analysis or critique, the first thing that you know is that you have to understand what you are defining and what your parameters are. So let's look at our sentence. The amount of productivity that I have equals how valuable I am as a person. There's a lot of problems there. What is productivity? What determines if you're productive or not? If I have 45,000 tasks a day and I can accomplish them all via ChatGPT, so I get all of my tasks done every single day, but I didn't really put in any brain power into that. Am I valuable or not valuable? If I have 45,000 things to do today and I do one of them impeccably in a way that is going to solve problems for the future, and we are going to save money, and we are going to implement a better solution because of the time and the effort that I spent on this one task. But there's 44,999 tasks that went unaccomplished. Am I valuable? Which of those aspects of work is more valuable? The person who spent all day on one singular solution that has yet to be implemented and left the majority of their tasks unanswered? Or the person who accomplished all of their tasks but didn't use any of their own brain power for it? Who is more valuable? And I feel myself like trying to calm myself down. And I just remembered that this is my own damn podcast and I can be angry if I want to be. That's freaking stupid. Attempting to determine a person's value and worth based on how much they had accomplished during the day is the height of stupidity. It makes no sense. You're missing every single point. Not only are you ignoring the individual and the person that's in front of you, you're missing the point of the fact people have different strengths and weaknesses. And if we look at everything as a system, together, as a collaboration, as a team, as a barter, we can get so much more done together. So who is more valuable? Everybody is valuable. They are all bringing their unique capabilities, strengths, weaknesses, and so on to the table. Is Albert Einstein valuable when you put him in a room of graphic designers? Let's say old Bert was alive. And we were like, oh, we know what we need to do to make this graphic design project pop up. We're going to get the smartest guy in the world in here. And you bring in Albert Einstein. Let's bring in Stephen Hawking and see what he says. Stephen Hawking does not have an opinion on your graphic design. He doesn't care. It's not his area of expertise. He's not even thinking about it. It has nothing to do with his life, his interests, his expertise, his strengths, his history, his abilities, his skills, his education, his knowledge. So you're going to put Stephen Hawking in a room full of graphic designers. And then when he has no design insights, you're going to point at him and say, see, he's not even valuable. Please, if that sounds stupid, take a second to laugh, because that is what we do every single day of our lives. Let's bring it back to ADHD. And then I'm going to wrap up the part of talking about the impact of self-worth. I am a person with ADHD. I cannot do my laundry well. Couldn't tell you the last load of laundry I ran. I can tell you how many piles of clothing are on my floor, at least 3. Clean, dirty, in between clean and dirty. Am I less of a valuable person because my laundry isn't done? When you put Abigail Shondar at a laundry cleaning symposium and ask me on my best ways of getting laundry done in the most efficient way, I'm not valuable. I'm not a valuable contribution to that conversation. I'm just not. Put me in a myriad of other rooms and all of a sudden my value increases. And I'm thinking of, this is reminding me of Bretman Rock. And Bretman Rock, if you listen to our podcast, say hi to us. We like you over here. We're your friend over here, and we would love to visit with your chickens. But Bretman Rock was accepting an award. And he was saying that, like, I wish I could say that I never saw representation of myself on TV or on film, and I never imagined that I would be here. But it's not true. He said, my parents always had Filipino television on. Everyone I saw on TV looked like me all the time. And his message was so simple. He said, if you don't see anyone who looks like you, change the channel. He said a little differently. He said, change the channel. You don't see anyone who looks like you? You're looking for representation that looks like you? Change the channel. You don't feel valuable. Your value isn't being recognized here. Change the channel. Go somewhere else. Do something else. Find a way to make yourself maximum valuable. And that's what working smarter means. So now let's bring it back. Maximum valuable means how much can I contribute? How much does not mean quantity. How many tasks I did in a day, 45,000 tasks I did with the help of ChatGPT, which is a very valuable resource. Valuable and valid resource. We use it all the time. We use it every single day, constantly. But your value isn't measured by the quantity that you accomplished. It's measured by the value of what you bring. The value of what you bring, dear listener, is a question that only you can answer. And you can rely on external feedback and other people's opinions and past successes to formulate your vision of what your value is. But all of those pieces and all of that information and all of that data has to pass through you. You are the only person who can decide, determine, and bring forth that true value from yourself. Because it's a mix of a lot of things. It's a mix of your passions. It's a mix of your values. It's a mix of your upbringing. It's your morals. It's your spirituality. It's your intelligence. It's your interest. It's your skills. It's your education. It's everything together. But most importantly, it is a focus on your strengths and an avoidance of your weaknesses. Again, identifying value and bringing value necessitates, it is required that you have a focus on your strengths and a plan for compensating for your weaknesses. That is how you bring value. And it is literally just that simple. If I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm bad at, you can't trip me up with anything, right? So when I was getting hired to run the nonprofit development and fundraising department at a very large nonprofit, my new boss called on my old boss, bling, bling, and he said, "Hey, I'm here interviewing Abigail. What do you think of her?" And my old boss said, "Listen, she is great, except when it comes to follow through. She not so good at follow through." Ouch. Not the time you want that to come up. When your old boss is talking to your potential new boss, that's not really the conversation you want them to be having. You would rather that they talk about all of your amazing qualities and not bring up any of your deficiencies. And also, fair enough. Listen, man, it's fair enough. I am not great at follow through. I'm really good at initiation. I'm really good at planning. I'm really good at step by step. I'm really good at phases. I'm really good at systems. I'm really good at processes. You want me to actually do the thing that I just put together? It's not for me. So why was I a failure, quote unquote, in one place and a massive success in the next place? Same person, same strengths, same deficiencies. At place number one, I was alone. I didn't have a team, and I wasn't even working full time. And I had no monetary resources. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money to purchase the resources that I was missing. No money, no people, no time. And my goal was to not only maintain the efforts of the fundraising department, make sure we didn't lose any donors or lose any money, keep getting in all of that same money, and increase the donations that we were getting from new sources. All of those tasks were mine, and I worked part-time alone. Moved to the next place. I had a team of 2.5 people, but we had more resources. I was able to come in and put together a plan and share the plan with my team, divide it up according to our strengths and weaknesses. And you know what we did at that second place? We not only increased our donations by like 60%, we also increased every single one of the donations that we were bringing in from large granting parties. And we moved our donations from, I think, 70% designated donations, meaning that the money has to go exactly where they want it to go, to 90% undesignated donations, meaning that the money can go to whatever you need it for. That's massive. And I mean, an accomplishment that, of course, I'm very, very proud of. But what's the difference? We didn't have any more money. We had more time and we had more people. And we were able to work together to divide up amongst our strengths and weaknesses the work that we needed to do. So then when I came back to my old place of work to visit and to say hello, I walked straight up to the CEO and I said, "Hey, I noticed that you're not a donor of ours. How can I sign you up?" Because his parent had actually benefited from some of our services many, many, many years back. And his response to me was, "Wow, like you some balls. How come you weren't like this when you worked for me?" And I said, "I was. I haven't changed at all. I'm exactly the same person. At this new place, I have the resources to enable me to be the way that I am and to maximize on those strengths. And when I was here, I didn't. I didn't have any help or any time. So I didn't have the mental capacity or bandwidth to be just walking up to people and soliciting donations. There were so many other more urgent things that we needed to do, things that were on fire all the time that had to be taken care of immediately. So watch what happened. I was at a place of employment. I was not given the opportunity or resources to work smarter. So I ended up working harder. And through that hard work, I managed to keep that department afloat and functioning, which is no less than a small miracle. And at the end of the day, what was the feedback I got? How come you're more valuable somewhere else? Where was that value when you were here? And beyond wanting to punch that dude in the goddamn face, because you suck. I'm incredibly grateful to him because that lesson is clear. The way that somebody else is going to perceive you is not based on the amount of effort that you put into the thing, but based on the ultimate results. Nobody cares. No one cares. No one cares. No one cares. No one cares how hard it is for you. No one cares. And I say this with every ounce of love in my heart. In another episode, we'll talk more about rejection sensitivity and rejection sensitivity dysphoria, or RSD. But for now, suffice it to say that our neurodivergent brethren, we have sensitive spirits, and we have a very open slate to criticism, and we're very, very sensitive. So when I say no one cares, I'm not telling you that nobody cares about you. I'm telling you that no one cares about anything other than themselves and what they're going through and what's hard for them. You are inherently valuable, whether you work smart, hard, or not at all. You are a human being on our planet Earth, and you are the only you that exists. So for any other one of God's creations, or whatever belief system you happen to ascribe to, we're a God channel here. For any one of God's creations to look at another one and think to themselves, I am better than, you have no idea what you're talking about. You do not have enough information to be making that assessment. You do not have a right to that opinion. And frankly, it's probably not true because you don't know what you're talking about. Now that I spent half the episode on a tangent about the inherent value that you hold and how it's not connected to your work, whether you work smart or hard. We also touched a little bit on some of the limitations that might enable me to work smarter. Like maybe I have a better idea and it's not within my control. There's nothing I can do about it. And that's okay too. That happens sometimes. Now that we've done that, let's talk a little bit about ADHD and working harder. So if you're an ADHD person, or you are an autistic person, or you're any sort of ND person, probably work really hard. And you probably work really hard at a lot of things that people do not need to work hard about. You work hard every minute of the day from the moment you open your eyes until the minute you close them. Because the world is not meant for you and it's not adapted to you, and it doesn't really absorb you well unless you have the right accommodations. There are certain things that are just beyond our control. And the idea that something is beyond my control is extremely uncomfortable. But in this case, beyond your control means I can't do it without major fallout, without major implications. I've got a good example of this, and I mean, I think a lot of you might be able to relate because connective tissue disorders and neurodivergence are very well linked. But for my POTS people, for my Ehlers-Danlos people, for my connective tissue disorder people, you know that walking around with a connective tissue disorder means that you're in pain all the time, pretty much. Because the tissue in your body that connects stuff to other stuff doesn't work really well. And because it's all working very well, your muscles constantly need to be engaged and they need to be working harder, and that causes pain. Right now, I'm not able to straighten my arm. This is as much as I can straighten it. For reference, your arm should go all the way. So you should be able to open your arm all the way. This one really doesn't want to do that today. Why? Because there's a tightness in my bicep that needs to be released in order for my arm to be able to move. Can I straighten my arm? No. If I force myself and cause myself some extra pain, can I straighten my arm? Pretty much, although it's not as extended and straight as the other side. I can do it, but it really hurts. It really hurts. Life with a connective tissue disorder is doing things anyways, even though they really hurt. And having someone tell you, well, just straighten your arm. It's not that hard. You're like, I know it's not that hard. I was able to straighten my arm yesterday. I can straighten my other arm, but I cannot for the life of me straighten this arm. And they're telling you, yeah, just do it anyways. Just do it anyways. You can't, yes, you can. Who said you can? Yes, you can. And that erodes your ability to trust yourself and to know what is true and what is not true, and to be able to trust that you know best for yourself. Taking it back to working smarter and not harder. If there is a way for you to accomplish something with less effort, do it. I keep my clothing in piles on the floor. Is that gross? Probably yes. Are people going to judge me for it? 1,000,000% yes. Do I like having all of my clothing on the floor? Really? I probably have to replace my stuff more often or wash them more often because it's getting constantly full of dog hair and it's just on the floor and it's just kind of yuck. But if it saves me a little bit of time and a little bit of effort to keep my stuff on the floor, in a basket or in a pile, and not hang everything back up, and that works for me, then why do I need to work hard at hanging all of my stuff up in the closet in the way that someone else has decided for me that I should be doing? Why do I need to live my life according to your metric of what doing things acceptably looks like? Why do I need to work so hard all the time so that I can be palatable for you, so that you can come into my room, into my space and feel okay? That is not my responsibility. And beyond that, not only is it not my responsibility, it's a waste of my time. You are not worth my time and effort in that way. I am worth my time and effort in that way. My family is worth my time and effort in that way. The things that I choose are worth my time and my effort in that way. So here is to getting rid of working harder for favor of working smarter. And if I may, let me present it to you a different way. Work smarter, not harder, means work your way, not their way. Because they, them, the people with the opinions can literally suck it. I'm not interested in your opinion of my life. I am not interested how you think I should accomplish something, because I am the expert on me and you are the expert on you. There is no one in this world who knows you and who knows what you need better than you do. You are the expert of your own life. You are the only person who has lived in your skin suit every day from beginning until end, every single day of your whole life. And if anyone else thinks that they have any sort of stake in your life that is more than the stake that you have in your life, they're crazy or codependent or delusional or a whole bunch of other things. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to think about what's wrong with them and what they're wasting their time and effort on. You need to focus on you and on what you need. So I guess we're going to be doing a lot more episodes about working smarter and not harder. But if may, work smarter, not harder means do it your way and fuck their way. They don't know what they're talking about. With that, please be curious about yourself and what works for you. Do it your way, but make sure that your way is working. And if it isn't, look for something else. Try something else. Do something else. Don't give up on finding your smart way. It might not look like anyone else's way. It might look weird. It might look different. It might look like it takes a lot longer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Do it your way. And screw them. This has been another tangential rant with Yael Chandar. Thank you so much for joining us this week at Avy-HD. I cannot thank you enough for being here and for welcoming me into your life and allowing me to babble, basically. If you find value in this, please reach out. Let us know. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want to talk about. And if I could just leave you with one message, it's this. You are the expert of you. You know you best. You know what you need best. You know what you want best. And if you don't know, all of the answers are inside you. You can listen and find out. Do it your way. Whatever it is, do it your way. Don't do it their way. Your value is unique. You are unique. The ways that you do things are unique. And all of that intrinsically has value. Thank you again. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.